Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Beat Odds episode live stream. We are going to do. That is not those who used to card breaks with me. They're probably well versed with the fact that I rarely get my. That's better. Yahoo Fantasy Basketball. This is going to be a Roto league and a snake draft. We'll be participating in that here shortly. Got 11 minutes to go before it starts, so I figure not a bad idea for us to go over as to this is your first time looking at Yahoo drafts this, or if you've never done one before. I do have some tips that I'll go prior to this draft, and I also have building a playlist. Hit pin at the top of the chat. Go ahead and click on that playlist. It will bring you to videos that I've created for specifically for rotisserie drafts. Now I actually have some more that I'm going to probably within a day or two. So now still some coming, but there is going to be Yahoo Fantasy Basketball all long, and I do actually have point head league draft kits pretty much already built up. Search that through the channel, and you those now talk a little strategy. So in a rotisserie league, it's very, 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 very important that you don't forget about your shooting split. That's field goal percentage, free throw percentage in particular. They are absolutely crucial. You want to make sure that the players that you're gunning for are efficient, skilled and efficient players. You want players that know how to not just like to go out to the three, back up a whole bunch of shots and bring field goal percentage. You want guys that are actually at it. You want to try to target those players, especially those early draft. You want to be now injury prone players are okay to draft, but it's a good idea to also draft their hang. For those who are looking at the actual draft screen, notice that beat the odds in the seventh spot, which is not my favorite spot to draft from. I say the first five picks are kind of sheer on their own. So I'll be very lucky if I happen to get one of those five in this draft at the seventh spot. But nevertheless, there is an player that typically falls around that seventh spot, and that player, um, he's not a bad idea to draft in like this like Roto league because you're really only about whenever you get Joel on the court. So my kind of over under, I'd say 50 games, 5 games. Pardon me. If he can actually come through and start in 55 games, well worth a pick. Late and the late first because of his efficiency, in particular, efficiency was an 88% last year, 12 over 12 attempts a game. So that will almost single handedly carry your team by field goal free throw percentage. Sorry, that's going to certainly help in your rank. So I don't mind picking up prone players, but it's also a good idea to draft their handcuff because you are going to lose out on playing, of course. It's not a bad idea to carry their handcuff on their bench and You can slot them in, pick up some extra um, points that may not normally afforded to them. There is like Andre Drummond, for example, not a really good free. He's not a bad person to plug in there if you're looking to get rebounds when Joel Embiid is out of the line. And you want to also look for players who play multiple positions. This is also key because it's good to have flexibility and especially on your bench. The last thing that you want to do have a player go down, have a replacement player from the waiver wire. Usually, those players not provide the same type of scoring as the actual. So, if you can get players that play multiple positions, it's easier to slide one of the players in a spot where there is vacancy because of an injury, or you're trying to catch up in some of the games you have left to play in maximum game played. It's good to have somebody like Scotty Barnes, for example. I will be targeting draft. It's good to draft a player like that who wanted to play shooting guard, small forward, and power forward. You kind of move as you see fit. All right, let's talk a little bit of how your draft kind of works here in a snake draft in the early rounds. You want to pick the best player available without busting your strategy. Now, my strategy in particular is I want to draft an all around good team. I want to make sure that in doing so, don't sacrifice my percentages. So I like players, I like forwards that um, handle the ball a little bit more. Again, if I think of Scotty Barnes, for example, good player to try to target uh, draft like this because he basically does a little everything, and his shooting percentages aren't terrible. Middle rounds, you want to fill positional gaps. So what I mean by that is in the early rounds, you might end up picking best your best players might be guards, a shooting guard, and two centers. That's going to leave you light on power forward, small forwards. So in the middle rounds, you want to try and concentrate fill those best. Once you get to the late rounds, that's in 15, you want to draft your sleepers. So guys that you are thinking about, um, trying to see if you can get them on, or maybe there's players out there that a lot of people. There's a couple. If you take a look at the players that a lot of people are picking up after the draft here. Noah Clowney comes to mind. People get a little bit more run, and people like kind of last season. It wouldn't be a bad idea to take a flyer on him in the. He also another guy that plays positions you can power forward or center Yahoo League. Not a bad idea to try and that. Now for snake drafts, don't be scared to start a positional run. Don't be the manager to end it. So, but what that means is, say for example, in the rounds, I need a forward or a power forward. Um, I would rather be a manager that picks a small forward that starts a run of small forwards instead of picking at the end of that run. Quite a big gap between or the start of the run and the end. That might not prove efficient there. So ideally, want to be in a position where you can start a run, not try to pick up out of who's left over. Okay, that's going to bring us right into our little plug for the evening. I am a fantasy basketball advisor, and what that means is you can actually send me questions through our partner platform, and they will send it directly to me, and I can actually respond back to your with an audio response. So, for example, you can ask a question like, "What strategy should I draft in a points league?" Well, drafting in a point is a little bit different, of course, than drafting in a head-to-head league, a category league, or a Roto league. So, give you things that you can use specifically directed toward points league. So there's a few things that you can actually do. You can actually send me, say, a snapshot of roster. Let's say like drafted, and I can my opinions on how that went, things that you should probably target and stuff as the season goes along. Uh, it's a really great way, of course, as well to support the channel. It certainly does help me out when questions. So definitely go check it out. It's askmeonq.com/ beat the odds dash NBA. That's going to take you directly to my fantasy basketball page, and you can. All right, let's get into the draft. Got about a minute and a half, or a minute, almost 2 left to go in the draft here. There for you guys. There we go. So I have gone ahead and queued up some players here. Um, Draft kind of towards the end of the draft. And that's always a good thing to kind of do. This screen, of course, is going to look a little bit differently for it to draft on your computer or your on cell phone. This is what they call um, presenter mode. Pardon my called presenter mode. You can kind of see exactly who's drafting who. A little bit nicer of a package. It's great for streaming, actually. Um, but I do actually have to make my picks from my cell phone. I'm gonna jump in the actual live stream phone. So that way, if anybody has text or I would be very happy. All right, so we got 30 seconds left. Draft. Good luck, or for the start of the draft, I should say. Luck to me. So there is a faction of people out there that want to pick Victor Wembanyama first. I've seen that a lot more in Yahoo leagues, and I've seen in leagues which I am in as well. In this format, I would be 100% up Jokic first, not Wembanyama. But it's hard to pass up on there like that if he happens you happen to get the of course there goes Wembanyama for the first selection. Luka goes second, which I think is surprising. Now we have an auto pick here. Jokic is going to be third. I would have picked Jokic first. Joel Embiid fourth. Not a bad pick if you're hoping to get a little bit more than 60 games out of him at this season. Now there is certainly a player that's out there that I will not be picking up. That being Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to sit wire here. It's Tyrese Halliburton, Anthony Davis, and I think in this format, I'm not a huge fan of picking up Halliburton here, but again, with the seventh pick, you're not going to get much in the here, so we're going to go ahead and select Tyrese Halliburton. He's going to be really good, kind of all around player there, and assists. So I've got that pretty much taken care of. Now it's a matter of trying to find a good guard to, or sorry, a good center to pair with him. Now I did come prepared myself. I do have a nice big bowl of popcorn, and I got that I will be munching on as this track goes along. So that way there was. Now I was tossing up the idea of picking up Anthony Davis here. I do like him in Roto formats, but I like Halliburton a little bit more. Play a few more games. I don't think AD is completely ass and good for 6 well. But I think Halliburton, the injury that he suffered last year, I don't think that repeats. Therefore, our team, given the fact that he can possible. There goes Sabonis. Kind of unfortunate is that the pick that's going to come back to me doesn't have anybody center. But I already got my point guard. Another point. I think we're going to go ahead and pick up Donovan. Listed as going to be my shooting guard. I would have preferred to have a little bit more balance and pick up um big forward or a center. Wasn't anything left over after the Cooper. When I was tossing the idea of picking up Scotty Barnes, which there he goes. So this kind of goes back to the want to pick start a run and not to end it. Trae Young was picked just before I picked my Donovan Mitchell, and after that, point guard, shooting guard, point guard. I feel pretty good that I'm going to get another point guard, another point guard. I've got kind of top of the stack. Dipped in and got Alperns. All right. I picked up Donovan Mitchell as well because I needed to score. Halliburton is primarily for scoring. I needed somebody who could. Now I absolutely need to pick best player available. We're just going to determine champion picks. Picked up Paul George. Now the unfortunate thing is the next guys on my list again are point guards, and so do I want to take a risk with the LeBron here? He's actually not a bad play in Roto. Okay, I'm going to drop. I am of course a little bit throughout the season, but I think he still has lots in the tank. That watch the Olympics, you and it's good to have a forward. So now what I'm hoping for, up a another forward or a center. Definitely need. Ray Phoenix's full team is up on center. A little annoying. All right, I'm the next pick after Cameron's Creek. A little torn here. I really do need a center, but the centers that are out there aren't really my liking. One of them. We're gonna go ahead and best player available, which is Murray. That means I need my center spots now. Be a little earlier. I don't normally go 4 rounds without picking a center. Usually, I like to have my center. But the way this draft has been going, that hasn't really. So if you're watching this, first of all, I want to thank you. Um, Feel free to leave a like on the video or subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so. I will be doing fantasy basketball all season long. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a great season. I'd love to have you guys on board. Definitely check us out. Subscribe to the channel. Got a lot of new things that we're planning. Of course, I've got there's a guy that I wanted to pick, Evan Mobley. We've got stuff lined up here for you all season. Be a good one. This kind of goes back to the not wanting to run, breaking that rule a little bit. We're going to go ahead and get Miles Turner, just so we have somebody. Now I just have to hope that DeJounte Murray up more of an impact player. One of my favorite Roto guys is actually still on undrafted, that being Derek White. Jalen Johnson's also somebody I would have loved to have targeted. He would have been a pick that I would have picked in my next round. I might actually pick what the next two picks do. Picks that I could potentially get. There goes one of them, Kate Cunningham. Derek White, of course, is the other. I don't think that Cameron's crazy team is going to get him because he's already got 3 cards. Never know. Oh, I think we're going to go ahead. Yeah. Derek White. That pretty much solidifies the point guard position. I don't really have to worry about that for the rest of the draft. It does kind of break a little bit of a rule too. Now that we're in the middle part of the draft, I do like to pick up players to fill positions that have gone undrafted. And right now, I need center, another forward. So I will be looking at getting those probably in the next picks of that. For those that are curious, I did pop these myself. Huge fan of the Colonel's seasoning. Mixed a little bit of white cheddar, all dressed, and love it. So there is a player that I'm going to try to get probably around that 8th, 9th round that is injured and not going to be playing until the second half, closer to the calendar year. That being Kristaps Porzingis. But he's a great player to roster. Roto format. Everything well. He's not a big read. Everything else well. And he does it at really good percentages. That's somebody I'm certainly going to trying to get squad. All right, we are next to pick. Mark Williams was another one that I was hoping to get, but we're not going to get. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to get a bit of a riskier pick, but we're going to go ahead and get Zach Levine. With DeMar out of town, Zach Levine's still a bull. Should be the go-to option on offense. So he's going to provide much needed points. I picked up Halliburton round 1. I picked up Derek White to be stopper. Zach Levine's going to get a lot of points. Should give me a lot of points. Again, he does that at pretty good percentages. So I don't mind picking him. I think I'm actually going to solidify that Kristaps Porzingis. Get him in round. Brandon Miller was another one that I was looking at getting here, but happened. Pick up by Cameron. So I think Brandon Miller is going to be great, a lot better in the second half. So for leagues that I don't have Brandon Miller, I might be looking at trying to see if I can get a deal done with him on the season, especially if he struggles out of the gate. Those are my favorite types of deals. Now, the one thing with a pick like Porzingis, I'm certainly going to still need to have another couple of bigs around them. And whenever Porzingis is actually playing, then I'll likely going to be the type of player that's going to the odd game off there. So I need to make sure I've got a strong backup that I can plug into that spot whenever. But that works just fine. League like this, because you're only really concerned about who's playing that day as opposed to how many games you can get in a week of a guy. You have a cap, be able to fill that cap players as possible. So I'll have games lined up for Kasper's back on the court. All right, so now we still got to focus in on bigs. About 6 more picks to go before my turn. See Julius Randle sitting out there. Pick up. I don't like Julius Randle in this format. Same reason I don't like Zion Williams. Games are very similar. I go to Julius Randle. I don't have to worry about him. I'll let him be somebody else's problem. He's gonna pull down your averages. I'm looking for players that are going to be efficient. Randle is anything but. So glad that he's not think about drafting. RJ Barrett taking more of a workload, and another guy that's throw percentage not great, and he's going to be probably the focal point of offense in Barnes. So I'd rather pick up a player like Keegan Murray and give me that percentages that I'm looking for. He's a great 3 point shooter. Down on occasion, he can play a little bit of defense. And of course, Sacramento, fast paced. It'll be interesting to see how again what his role is going to look like with the lineup that out there. A lot of options on that offense. Might take a little bit of a dip in scoring, but he'll still be a player to own. Brandon Podzemski is a nice player that I like to go for in the end rounds. Now that we're kind of in that stage there, All right. Now, I said I was going to pick up another center, but it's tempting to leave a player like Tyler Hero still available. We're just going to go ahead and draft him. Hope that the forwards and centers is back to my. Might be kicking myself here because there is a player that I'm hoping to get. A couple players that I'm hoping to get. That was one of them. Walker Kessler available. Strategy might have backfired on me a little bit. Jones was another one I was. Coming back around, picking in 4 picks. Okay. More pick to go before it's our turn. A little torn on this next pick. That's who I was torn with was Jonathan Kuminga or Jeremy Grant. I'm gonna go ahead with Grant, obviously. Um, Again, it's kind of the if he gets off to a good start, I'm gonna see if I can find a trade partner for him. Maybe that'd be a guy that I can better in the second half, first half. All right, so I can guarantee you that my next two picks are going to be centers because we still don't have that spot completely filled out yet. Everybody's scared to pick up Chris Middleton. Can't can't do it either. But I am going to target probably the only rookie that might go in drafts here. That being Zach Edey. I am well at this point hoping for a lot from him. All right, so we got one pick left. This is going back to the pick the handcuff. My next pick that I'm looking to do Al Horford. Of course, going to be Kristaps Porzingis, handcuff and substitute more than likely in the starting lineup. The absolute last offense, our last option on offense, but had a few big games, especially in the playoffs. Here's hoping that he's Tyus Jones was actually pretty because it's still uncertain as to exactly what role he play starting lineup, or if they're going to start off the bench. Either way, solid amount of high flying Phoenix to pick up. All right. And John Collins. And Onyeka. But I think I am going to go ahead and pick up John Collins here. Then I may have to look at picking up Al Horford. I'm not going to do it here for my draft. Overall, I think I've had better drafts, but not bad. Kind of stuck to my strategy. See how it plays out. I'll actually show you guys a couple of things here at the end of the draft I like to look at. Now that the draft is complete, we can take a look to see where they think they rank me. Kind of wide. Middle of the pack. Low on. Hoping to be this to be. Uh, um, yeah, not a terrible team. Kind of the all-around team that I was hoping to get. Hopefully, this pays off there for me. I take a look at my team. Ideally, going through here, I want to make sure that I'm fielding guys that are going to do a good job at an all-around. I need to get guys that can score. I need to get guys that can rebound. I need to get pass. Now, as I look through here, a couple of things that kind of stand out. I got a lot of scores. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7 guys that last season may not need to play all of them, especially when you look like at a guy like a Tyler Hero who's got a field goal percentage. I'll have to kind of weigh out if I want to hit that extra 20 game. Maybe if I need somebody to be able to pass the ball a little bit more, about 4.5 assists, but it's not something that I'm necessarily looking. We'll kind of see how the I got a lot of guys that can shoot, not uncommon. Rebounding, I'm a little light, so I definitely Zach Edey to be a big big rebounder for the team. Kind of why I wanted to pick up John Collins. I can slide him in vacant power forward spot. That's Porzingis up. Hopefully, whatever's happened to John already happened to John. Active rock at that point. Assists. I like to have at least 5 guys with 5 assists, and I've got 5 guys. Halliburton, Mitchell, DeJounte Murray, LeBron. I like LeBron in this spot. Derek White. Oh, Steals again. 5 guys that can game. Halliburton, Mitchell. Mitchell is one career high last season. I don't think he's going to replicate that this season. but I'll take half from him. Okay, DeJounte Murray 1-4. He should actually have more, I think, in this lineup. LeBron James at 1-3. I don't expect that many for Derek White and Keegan Murray also. Still a game. Blocks per game, a little light on that, but again, that's why I picked up a guy like Derek White who can play guard spot here, forward like production, stocks. So there, Keegan got 0.8. John Collins has got point. There, Zach Edey's probably going to get at least Miles Turner. Casper's back also. I feel pretty good there. Then turnovers, not terrible. Again, as long as I'm getting a lot of assists, I don't mind the turnover category. I like Halliburton in this format, although I think at the 7th pick, yeah, reach for a little bit. But I'll take him nonetheless because he's going to give me a lot of assists and he's not going to turn over the ball a lot. So that assist and turnover, if I were to combine both those categories above the average, Tyrese Halliburton is exactly the type of guy you want to have a team to be able to do that. So I'm happy with that. Derek White's another good one. He 5 assists, 5 turnovers. Guys on my team actually really have on the. But yeah, that's gonna do it here pretty much for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. There, please leave a like, of course, on if you watched, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I'm gonna sign off for now. I will catch you guys on the next.